Hello, everybody. Today, I'm very excited because we are going to, or rather, I am going to talk to you about this concept of be the wolf. And I want to tell you why it's so important to being able to create the life of your dreams. And by life, I mean all aspects of it. Of course, your business, if you're running a business or career, if that's where you're at, your relationships, your health, your mental health, your joy, your excitement, all of the things. And this be the wolf concept is so important because it is the thing that will allow you to get what you want out of your life. Now, you've heard the intro to this show. And so I want to elaborate a little bit on that story, on the metaphor about the wolves of Yellowstone National Park. In the early 1900s, they decided they wanted to make the national park safe. So they got rid of all of the predators, the bears, the wolves, anything that might be a danger to people, and they removed them from the environment. And over time, what started to happen is the elk overpopulated, and then they ate the grasses by the rivers, and then that made the rivers spread out, which made the beavers leave, and of course, obviously, some of the fish species. And so it started a chain reaction that over time collapsed the ecosystem. And in the mid 1990s, they introduced 41 wolves back into the environment. And over time, everything began to balance out, right? There is a place for each of us, a place for each species to be able to help keep the whole environment working cohesively. And so, what we can learn from that is that the wolves were just wolves. They came in, they were their authentic self. They didn't try and be a beaver, they didn't try to act like a woodpecker. They just came in as their authentic, badass wolf selves and did what they did. Do what they do. They used their gifts, they ate the food they needed to eat, and that is what balanced out the ecosystem. They didn't run around saying, "Hey, George, should we have this elk for dinner? I don't know. Maybe we should go ask Mom or Sally because I don't know what we should do." And those are the silly things that we as humans do. And they keep us from operating from our authentic and truest self because we're so concerned about what other people will think or want from us or expect from us. So the wolves were themselves. And yes, sometimes a wolf is ferocious and mean, and sometimes they are loving and gentle. And in their process of helping to recalibrate the ecosystem, they were their full selves. They didn't try to hide their meanness when it was time to be mean. They didn't bend their gentleness when it was time to be gentle. They were their full selves at all times. And this changed the environment. So it's my belief that the more people we have operating from our truest, most authentic self, the whole of us, that we will recalibrate our own ecosystem. We will stabilize our ecosystem and make our world better. And plus, when you get to operate from the fullness of you, life is a lot more fun. You get what you want and you feel good. So, one of the things when we talk about being the wolf is really doing what's right for you as opposed to what you think you should do. Now, since the time you were little, you've been told what you should do. Don't get in that garbage. No, don't, you shouldn't do that. Don't fight back. Be nice. All these things that you were told over and over and over. And eventually they became part of how you operate in the world. Some people were taught that they needed to be tough and strong. And so those people probably never showed their kind side, their gentle side, because for whatever reason, somebody expected that they be tough and strong. So they held in their tears when they were sad. They pretended like they had it all figured out, even when they didn't. And a lot of times these people are afraid to ask for help. I know so many who have hit the breaking point and they don't go in and they don't talk to their family. They will sit in a car and break down and pull it all together before they show up back to their family because they feel like they're not allowed to show that gentle side of themselves. They feel like they will potentially lose something if they show that quote weak side. But you see, we all have multidimensional facets to ourselves. And sometimes we have had enough and we need to break down and release. And that's important because that is actually what gives us the strength to keep going. When we shove it down, we actually start making our body operate from stress, and that doesn't do any good. It affects our decision making, it affects our relationships. And if you're running a business, it sure as hell affects your business. But if you were taught that you could be and feel whatever you feel at any given moment, these overwhelming feelings wouldn't be so overwhelming. They would just come and move and pass right through you. And when this happens, you have access to all of yourself. When you're holding in emotions, whether it be joy, I know there are a lot of people out there who have had to hold in their joy because of whatever it is that they thought they should be. Maybe they had a family member or a parent or friends or bosses who get weird when they are happy. And so they hold it in, and that stunts part of their power. Now, a part of being the wolf is being able to move with your full power. And if you are holding stuff in, trying to be what everybody else needs you to be or what you think you should be, you are stunting your power. And I don't mean power like squash other people. I mean your full capacity. Remember those words about living up to your potential? Well, it's like that, but it's better because it's not the potential that other people expect of you. It's the potential that you have. Now, we each have special gifts, unique gifts that I believe we are here to share with the world. And when you are holding in a part of who you are, whether it's the part that needs to stand up for yourself right now or the part that needs to be very gentle and kind, when you are holding a part of yourself back, you don't have access to the full capacity of you. This means you don't have full access to your creativity. It means you do not have full access to your confidence, your certainty about the next move. Now, how many people out there are second guessing every decision that they make? If you were the only person in the entire world, you wouldn't second guess those decisions. You would know exactly what you were going to do. You'd figure it out really quickly because there would be no other outside influence to inform what you should and should not be doing. And a big thing that gets in our way as humans is this constant need to make sure that other people think of us in a certain way. And if they think of us in a certain way, subconsciously we believe that we will be safe. That somehow, when the shit hits the fan, that we will be protected and safe because people like us, because we've done what we were supposed to do. We've shown that we're, quote, a part of the tribe and we are not to be left behind. But when you are being the wolf, you have pure confidence in yourself. You trust that even if these people walk away that you can find your way. You trust in your capabilities. You trust that you're strong enough to figure out the next thing. And you're not letting what other people think inform your decisions. When you do this, when you let other people inform your decisions, this is where the second guessing and the doubt comes from. Because you might have this feeling inside where you're like, I really want to do this thing. But then in the back of your head, you're not even aware of it. But then you're like, well, what will my mom think? She's always told me that I need to have a good education. I need to make sure I'm okay for retirement. But your heart is calling for you to jump out and start a business with your savings instead of saving it for retirement. But this questioning of like, is it going to be a mistake if I follow my heart, follow what's true and right for me? Because you have these voices in your head about you need to save a savings, you need to have a backup plan, you need to have that day job and not go after your dreams. This kind of behavior keeps you from making your dreams a success. Now, sometimes your dream doesn't end up exactly the way you anticipate it to be. But when you take those steps for the dream, the next step unfolds. But you can't actually fully take those steps and be all in if in the back of your head you're thinking about what you should have, could have, should have done. If you're doing that, you're not actually focused on creating your dream. You're focused on what might go wrong. And if you're focused on what might go wrong, you're more likely to create it. So being the wolf is about staying focused on what your path is, what is right for you, and not letting those voices and those opinions of other people get in your way. Now, there's this concept of the lone wolf. And it's been thought or it's been told to us over and over that the lone wolf was ostracized and put out from the tribe, from the pack. But this is actually not true. The lone wolf has determined that the pack they are in is not capable of fulfilling their needs. Maybe there's not enough food. Maybe there's not a viable mate. And so, what the lone wolf decides to do is they have enough faith in themselves that they can do it, first of all. They decide to go out on their own and they leave the pack in search of another mate. And so that they can start their own pack. And they'll go for a long time, and it's not going to be easy. They've got to survive on their own. They don't have that backup plan of the pack behind them. So they go out on their own, and sometimes they need to come back to the pack for a little while to replenish and restore if things have gotten too hard on their own. But they keep going back until they find their mate and start their own pack. So the alpha of the pack is actually not the one that beats everybody down. The alpha of the pack is the one who was brave enough to go out on their own and start their own pack. And so we have people like that in our society, in our world. These people are the leaders, they are the creatives, they are the entrepreneurs. These are the people that actually help our society to keep growing and help evolve humanity because they are the ones who are brave enough to step away from the pack and follow what they believe is true and right for them. They follow a new path, and that creates an opening for more expansion, more goodness, and more, just more in the world. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a creative, if you're a leader, You probably have had those moments where everybody thinks you're crazy and they don't understand what you're doing. But what you're doing is being the lone wolf. And the thing is, the reason the wolves actually continue to grow and perpetuate as a species is that because these lone wolves go out and create something new, it expands the gene pool. And so when you, as a creative, an entrepreneur, a leader, are going out and creating something new in the world, you are expanding. I get excited when I talk about this. You are expanding what is possible in the world, in our society. So it's so important for you to make sure that you own the be the wolf qualities, that you can be decisive and know what is right for you and your business or your art or your mission. And it's important that you are able to let it just roll off your shoulders when other people are coming at you with, you should be doing this and you're screwing everything up, and all of these horrible things that people try to tell you to knock you down. Now, the one thing you have to understand is those people are usually talking about themselves. They're not talking about you. They are talking about the things that they fear inside. They could never do what you're doing because they aren't the person that is meant to live that life. And maybe someday they will grow into that person and they'll have to face and tear away all of those things that are keeping them from feeling brave enough and confident enough to carve and trailblaze a new path. Now, being the wolf means that you operate with your fullest self, your most authentic self. It means that you follow your mission, you follow your heart, because doing otherwise is a betrayal to yourself. And you feel that in a different way. We've all had somebody betray us. But when you betray yourself, what it does is it tears you down little by little. It makes you feel like maybe I'm not enough. It makes you feel like maybe I can't trust myself. It's the thing that happens when you start to doubt, even though you were so sure of your path, but then something happens and maybe you make a decision to bend for a client and go against what is true and right for you. And these little betrayals start to tear down your be the wolf qualities. They begin to make you not have the faith, the confidence, and the trust in yourself that it takes to blaze that path. Now, I want you to just take a moment and think about the times in your life when you have blazed a path, despite what everybody was saying. You knew what was the right thing for you, and you did it anyway. You did it even though people were in your ears telling you it was not the best thing to do. And connect to that place inside of you that knew, that just knew. That is the place where you get to operate as the wolf. You get to be the wolf when you operate from that place. And yes, I know some fears and some doubts and those things do come up, but your job as the wolf is to tear them down, because inside of you are unique gifts, beautiful gifts that you are here to share with the world. And when you keep them locked in a room, behind all the shoulds and the masks of who you think you should be, when you keep them locked in there, you are depriving the world of the advances, the enjoyment, the beauty that your gifts bring to the world. So I say to you, tap into your wolf. Tap into your gift, tap into the truth of who you are, and let that shine big. Let that shine full because we need you. We need you to be the fullest, most powerful, most authentic version of you so that together we can create a world that is everything that we dreamed of, as well as getting our individual dreams. We get to have what we most desire and in turn give to the world what will collectively make a world that is beautiful and one where we all get to feel the love and enjoyment of who we are, who you are, and the beauty that we can create in the world. So thank you for listening to what it means to be the wolf today. And remember, when you unleash the power of you, humanity evolves. We'll see you next time on Be the Wolf. Bye, everybody.